Me when I turn up to shoot my fragrance vlog at Harrods department store.
You're not allowed in here. I've seen your videos before.
What do you mean, bro? Don't touch me.
You need to get out.
Don't touch me.
You're not allowed in.
What goes through my mind when my wife comes home and tells me about her day at work? And this is me when my doctor asks me, how often do you drink? Hello folks and welcome back to the show. Outdoors today in the salubrious surrounds near Rochester Castle in my hometown of Rochester in Kent. So today we're going to look at another top 5 great affordable gentlemanly smelling fragrances. Before we do that, don't forget that if you're looking for fragrance samples, my recommended UK based fragrance sampling site is Fragrance Samples UK. I've got a code for you. Mr. Smelly 10 gets you 10% off across the site, which has a stunning array of designer and niche fragrances. My recommended USA based fragrance sampling site is the Fragrance Decant Boutique. That's decanboutique.com. Absolutely amazing range of fragrances there too, and the code Mr. Smelly 10 also gets you 10% off that site. They are both linked in the description of this video. Okay, so let's get stuck into it. We're talking about really nice, affordable, gentlemanly smelling fragrances. I've got 5. I just did another video about this, kind of the same title, so put them together. You can call it a top 10, you know, whatever. I'm not saying there might be 20 other ones that I'll do next week. I don't know. Number 1, Azzaro Parfum Low. This is a really nice barbershop style fragrance. It's sporty, it's fresh, and it does have this lavender tonka kind of thing. Many people say it reminds them a little bit of Rive Gauche Parfum from Yves Saint Laurent, and I agree with that comparison. But this one has yuzu and a sharper lemon accord in the opening, and it has a really nice floral element that Rive Gauche Parfum by YSL, which is now sadly discontinued, lacks. I'm not saying it's better than that fragrance, but it's a great alternative if you can't find that one because that's discontinued. If they'd made a Rive Gauche Parfum Sport or something, it might well have smelled like this, and people will be paying hundreds of pounds for it. However, this one is not in any way discontinued, and I think you can pick it up for like £15 in the UK for a 50ml bottle online. I wore it today. This is really nice, fresh, affable and gentlemanly, classy, a kind of a mature smelling scent. Doesn't matter if you're 21 or 35 or 58 or whatever, but it gives you that air of authority and maturity, more so I think than slightly screechy things like Dior Sauvage or the latest Le Mal Flanker. Just my humble opinion, okay? I really like Azzaro Parfum Low. Next up, Pinard Clubman Vanilla, outrageously cheap, like £15 or £11 for 177ml, and it's a cousin to the original Pinard Clubman, which is also a great gentlemanly dapper fragrance. This is Pinard Clubman Classic Vanilla. You might think they've added a load of vanilla to the smell. Not many people pick up on a ton more vanilla, and I don't really pick up on that much vanilla at all. It does share the kind of lavender, dapper, soapy barbershop aura of the original Clubman, but this one to me has a little bit more depth and a little bit more clout to it. They've added in, I think, a patchouli note, which is not listed, but who cares? And despite the rather appalling, or kind of great in a way, tacky, cheap plastic bottle, it's really great stuff. It's a calming, soothing fragrance. It's kind of made to splash on after your shave. It makes you feel like a man. You step out of the door. You could easily wear this instead of a very expensive Creed fragrance, I think, on a date or a romantic situation, and it might go down just as well with the lady or man or whoever in question. And frankly, it's not about what other people think, it's about how you feel, and this always makes me feel great. Great stuff, Pinard Clubman Vanilla, Classic Vanilla. Next up, Brutal Classic Intense, a Polish fragrance. I hope you can get this elsewhere in the world. I found it on eBay for about £5. It was coming delivered from Poland. It's a classic. I think it dates back to the 70s originally. There was one that's not called Intense or whatever. Anyhow, the delivery was £8 and the scent itself was only £5. I hope we can still get it around the world. Lovely kind of spray bottle here, and so it's Brutal Classic Intense Woda Toaleta. That means eau de toilette in Polish. We all knew that. And it really has a nice citrusy opening, as kind of all fragrances tend to do. It also has quite a nice spicy element to it and a rugged, manly undertone, I think, which is really charming and very gentlemanly and refined, and really belies the incredibly affordable price for this fragrance. I think there's a little bit of a shade of Aramis Havana, not Aramis Havana, Aramis by Aramis, the original Aramis, but you may disagree, but I think there's a shade of that, but it's a more citrusy, fresh, soapier alternative for that at a fraction of the price of even that quite cheap, affordable fragrance. Let me know what you think. Have you tried Brutal Classic Intense? Okay, next it's Alvarez Gomez Barbarian. I've told you about this one many times, I know, and I'm also a huge fan of the original Agua de Colona Concentrada from this great historic Spanish brand. This is a more recent 21st century release. It is citrusy, it is fresh, it has a lovely woody, white woods and herbal accords in there, and this beautiful ginger additional spicy note. Wonderful. If you like the smell of ginger, subtly done with other notes, you know, you don't want to just smell like a gingerbread man. This is fresh, it's manly, it's sophisticated, it's quite complex actually, and the price is really great. You can get it for like £21 or something for a 150ml bottle. Really, really great stuff. People have said that it smells a little bit like Colonia Intensa from Acqua di Parma, which I love and is much more expensive, and I agree, but it's got a character all of its own, and really great, refined, gentlemanly, elegant fragrance for a crazy price. Really good, really enjoy this one. I've worn a reasonable amount in the relatively small amount of time that I've had this one. I love it. What do you think about this one? Have you tried it? By the way, we have a special offer on Norton & Wilson at the moment, Gravitas Parfum. Stunning summer offer, only £70 delivered, or in the USA it's $90 delivered. Don't miss out. Norton & Wilson linked in the description. And finally, Lalique Parfum, the lion head one. For some reason there's a horse head version which smells different with the same name. Very confusing. Why did they do that? Anyway, the classic glass house of Lalique, and this one is the Eau de Parfum version. There is an Eau de Toilette version. I haven't smelled that. Apparently they're very similar, but I would just go for the Eau de Parfum, I think. I think it was something like between 20 and 25 pounds. I found this today online for the Eau de Parfum version. People have said that it smells a bit like Creed's Bois de Portugal. I don't think it's a clone, but there are similarities. It has a lovely green bitterness about it. There are fine gentlemanly aura, yes. It's made by the perfumer Maurice Roussel, who's worked with huge niche brands like I think he did Muscravageur, I think, for Frederic Malle, a very esteemed perfumer. He also did the cheapy Bogart Parfum, if you're interested in your perfume trivia, and he's done a great job with this one. I think it was a 1997 release, fresh, green, bitter bergamot in the opening, but in contrast to Creed's Bois de Portugal, one of my favourites, this has an accent on a slightly more powdery and vanillic undertone in the base, which makes it very, very charming and perhaps less polarising than that fragrance, which is a bit hit and miss in some people's opinion. I really love this. Amazing price is online for this one, and it's a great, great fragrance. So that's it, folks. Let me know what you thought about my selections. I hope you like the outdoor setting. I'll try and do some more exciting settings where I go out on the streets, maybe in Rochester. What could possibly go wrong? Thank you so much for joining me. Do remember, folks, also that if you'd like to join my channel, that really helps me out, and you do get an extra video to watch each week for that. Or if you want to see that video and you don't happen to want to join a channel on YouTube, you can join my Patreon. Mr. Smelly is what you type in and search for on Patreon, and you can see those videos and support me on Patreon. You've got the option of how you want to do it. So guys, we will leave it there. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. Although sometimes life can stink, at least we can always smell good, right? See you in the next video. Bye-bye.